So, okay, we've been back from Brazil for 2 weeks now. What do you make of the city?
Well, having been, you get this picture described to you as you do anywhere.
Yeah.
You're landed by nature. I don't like a place when I first get there.
I know you're a bit weird like that.
I am a bit strange. My wife will tell you that. But I had this bizarre kind of feeling of being quite comfortable straight away.
In Curitiba?
In Curitiba itself. Yeah. We kind of, obviously you were there, but we got a bus from the train station and from the airport, dropped us right in the centre of town. And we kind of wandered through the streets to find our hostel where we were staying. At no point in that kind of first encounter did I feel threatened or at danger, which you normally get a feeling of in big cities, and especially me personally. And as we kind of remained there, I kind of grew in confidence with the place. The more I kind of explored it and encountered the people, I really felt that it was a really friendly face.
Yeah.
And I include being out late at night in that. We were travelling back, sometimes 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And I never once got the feeling that there was anywhere in the city I was really out of bounds.
No.
I would describe it as being really friendly, almost like an English type feel to it.
Yeah.
Some of my favourite bits were like town square upon town square almost.
Yeah,
so you'd go down an alleyway and it would open up into a square, then you'd dive down a couple of side roads and all of a sudden there'd be another square there. And each square had its own kind of flavour, it was lovely and green, almost like Scotland I think they described it as. But there'd be some music and there'd be lots of places to eat and drink.
The buses were great. Everywhere
genius transport system,
wasn't it? Yeah.
Which locals tell you that the whole world is copying.
Yeah.
So yeah, it felt really safe. The type of place you could take a family, to be perfectly honest.
But we won't.
Well, of course we won't.
No, but you could.
And the type of place where I'm sure our boys will have a different experience to Durban, because Durban, a lot of the time they were only genuinely guaranteed to be safe on the beachfront.
Yeah.
Once you got 2, 3 streets back from the beachfront, there was danger which we didn't want our lads involved with. I get the immediate impression that this is a city where we can encourage our guys to go, explore, and discover.
Yeah, it's great to see. And the people we met were as exciting as anything. Like, we went for, you remember that walk we did on a Saturday morning? We ended up in a little coffee shop, and I try and have this pidgin conversation with the bloke next to me, and the language is an issue, isn't it? There's not a lot of people speaking
Well, I was
English.
surprised. I was taken aback by just how little English there was.
And so I'm sat with this guy, not getting anywhere. Bloke comes down with all these newspapers, Curitiba in English. And I think it was Nelson they called him. And he was the editor of the only newspaper, the only English newspaper in the city, 5,000–6,000 people. And he wants to do articles, and it just kind of all flowed like that all week, didn't it? We met one person, introduced us to their mates, and a couple of people we already had lined up to see, like Jason Butler and a few others. But for me, I guess the most memorable person was the time we had this Claudio Oliver guy. So there's a few kind of people I read a lot of who are kind of shaping culture and shaping development culture as well. But this guy's kind of got the ear of most of them, and he used to run a church, he used to run an organisation. He's now got this little farmstead, you weren't with us this day, this little farmstead with goats and chickens and everything else in the middle of this kind of pretty high-rise bit of the city, and he's just trying to model community differently and reflecting on community differently and speaking in all over the world on this. So Paul, Andy and myself got a 4-hour grilling, very intelligent guy, and he just tore apart everything we thought about, changing communities, about development and aid and the poor, and about church and religion, and he just went at us on everything, man. So he was fascinating. He was fascinating. What about you? I know you loved the football side of it, didn't you?
Oh, well, do you know, it's like, we have this perception of us being the most passionate fans in the world. You would dread to think that there was ever anywhere which dared to love football as much as us.
Unlucky.
Well, I've never been to a football match in Brazil, obviously you've had experience of it. But we went to a pretty meaningless state championship game, if truth be told. 7,000 or 8,000 people there, I thought. And I've never experienced an atmosphere like it in a football match. I think we were probably in an hour before kick-off, 45 minutes maybe. And from the time we got in, I think there was a 10-minute gap at half-time where there wasn't somebody playing the drums. It was it was orchestrated kind of adoration of the team and commitment to the team, and it was absolutely amazing to see. All I kept thinking was, if this is like a 10th full stadium, imagine what this could be like come
World Cup time, I know.
And all I could think of, we had those nights in Connor's Bar where our boys kind of took over the place and they were chanting and they were they were the boys around that place leading the chanting stuff. I thought I'd love to get those boys to see what it looks like to lead thousands and thousands of people in that respect.
And that club we were at, Atletico Paranaense, really opened the doors to us, didn't they?
It was unbelievable. I've been explaining to people what I've been and seen and done, and it almost feels like a bit of a fairy tale. I've got to think, is that the truth? Yeah. But if I can just explain, you know, I've been a bit of a football geek. I've seen lots of training complexes, not personally and close up, but you know, on television where you get behind the scenes stuff. This place at Atletico belongs with a Real Madrid or an AC Milan or a Man United. You know, a real big global world hitter. They've got this amazing complex which they invited us into. They had their 48 elite coaches there for a week-long workshop into coaching football the Cap way.
Yeah.
So we thought we were just going to go and get showed around, and you know, we would get to see a change room maybe and be ushered out. But we basically got ushered in like we were royalty. We were dressed, honestly, we were like a bag of rags, the four of us. It was quite embarrassing actually. Everyone was in their club kit and we were wandering around like tourists abroad. Yeah. But they didn't batter an eyelid. Yeah. So we saw the complex as a hotel on site. We got to lie in the bed that Kaká lay in when he stayed there. We
did you feel the power?
Yeah, we felt it. So the Brazilian national team used this place. So there's a hotel on site. Yeah. They have 25 young professionals who are mothered there. They basically have house parents.
16, 17-year-olds.
16 to 18-year-olds. There is amazing recovery kind of rooms for recovery from injuries, brilliant treatment rooms. There's an amazing trophy cabinet.
And is there an opportunity for us to work with them, do you think?
Yeah. This club, and actually the guy who heads up their community involvement and international relations, basically have opened the door for us to lead a kind of a bit of a boom for them in 2014.
Yeah. Super.
We've basically offered them between 100 and 150 coaches where they would just really impact their community in a positive way during the World Cup and beyond. But they've invited us in to kickstart that. You know, they're very good at going into their community and spotting talent, but by their own admission they don't go in and do a lot of community, they don't do a lot of relational stuff. So they've already indicated that they would love us to lead and guide them in terms of what they do in their favelas that are immediately around them. And it was just unbelievable the level that we were dealing at. You know, not just you, but we were a set of young lads. We had two 18-year-old lads who were being asked opinions on football coaching by their elite coaches. I know. And we were having to point out that you have won 5 World Cups.
Yeah, I know.
so eventually at the end of the day...
Yeah, but they lost that night when we took the kids on it.
Yeah, we beat them. Yeah, we beat them. But in the end, just to show how open the club was to us as an organisation, there was 4 of us invited down to join the end of day game. The coaches at the end of each day, they finish their seminars and coaching the coaches, and they have full on 11-a-side games. Well, 4 English boys running around the pitch with 20 odd Brazilian boys was just an amazing moment to savour. And we were all called English. Hey, English.
That's all you are.
So yeah. And
the football's ready to go, isn't it? The other thing that occurred to me as well was that the city's quite different than we were in Africa. So we were in the city and we went out to the Valley of a Thousand Hills and we knew where the project difference. It's a bit more blurred in this city, isn't it? Because you've got beautiful parts of the city, and when we walked down one of the other football matches, some tough parts of the city. And then obviously the day we went down to one of the favelas, one of the slums, and saw the great work that Uberaba, where YWAM are working. And there's some real need there as well. I reckon there's easy 3 or 4 projects we've seen where we can actually make a difference. If not building houses for people, because the government is starting to do that quite well, but more the charities that are coming alongside in education and stuff that we could support. I don't know about you, but I felt 3.5 years out, it feels like the plan's there.
I came back and I thought, you know what, we could sit down tonight over a beer and we could write the plan and we'd be nearly there.
Yeah, brilliant trip.
Fabulous trip.